The Philippines today stands at a critical juncture in its defense modernization journey. Surrounded by rapidly evolving threats, from swarms of drones to long-range ballistic missiles, Manila must look beyond incremental upgrades and embrace the concept of an integrated air and missile defense network. This is not simply about purchasing another surface-to-air system or acquiring new fighter jets. It is about weaving all these capabilities into a coherent shield that can deter attacks, deny adversaries freedom of action, and ultimately safeguard national sovereignty. The urgency is clear. The rapid proliferation of unmanned aerial systems poses an asymmetric danger to critical infrastructure. A swarm of small, inexpensive drones armed with explosives can cripple an airbase, pierce through fuel depots, or disrupt radar operations. More sophisticated threats come from cruise missiles like China's YJ-12 and CJ-10, which can fly at supersonic or subsonic speeds at very low altitudes, slipping under radar coverage until it is too late. The danger escalates further when considering medium-range ballistic missiles such as the DF-21 and DF-26, designed to strike ports, runways, and command centers deep inside the Philippine archipelago. Manila is currently exposed to all these threats with limited means to respond. Other nations in Southeast Asia have at least laid the foundations of layered air defense. Vietnam deploys Russian-built S-300 and S-400 systems, Thailand has its Spider batteries, and Malaysia operates Starstreak units. The Philippines, by contrast, has only recently introduced the Spider as a short-range system and has yet to build any credible medium-range or ballistic missile defense. Its radar network is fragmented, often isolated from one another, and the Philippine Air Force continues to rely heavily on FA-50 light fighters, which lack the sensors and weapons to perform true air superiority roles. The harsh reality is that a concentrated strike on Clark or Manila could disable much of the country's air power within a single raid. Without an integrated shield, the country risks being neutralized before it can even respond. Integrated air and missile defense offers a way out of this vulnerability. At its heart, IAMD is about creating multiple layers of protection that overlap, backed by a unified command and control system. The first layer is counter-drone and short-range defense using manpads, programmable anti-aircraft guns, and counter-UAS jammers to defeat the cheapest and most numerous threats. The second layer is short-range air defense, where systems like the Spider protect bases, troop formations, and critical facilities against low-flying aircraft and incoming munitions. The third layer is medium-range defense, with systems such as NASAMS or IRIS-T-SLM, capable of intercepting cruise missiles, manned aircraft, and potentially even some ballistic targets. Above all of this, integration ensures that every radar, every missile battery, and every fighter aircraft is tied into a single operational picture. Geography dictates how the Philippines should design these defenses. The first defensive belt must be in northern Luzon, covering the Luzon Strait and approaches from Taiwan and the East China Sea. This is the northern gateway, where hostile aircraft or missiles could pour in during a crisis. The second belt must cover Palawan and the western approaches to the West Philippine Sea, protecting both the provincial capital and the forward bases supporting claims in the Spratly Islands. The third belt covers the national core, Manila, Clark, and the central and southern archipelagos, where ports, refineries, and political centers require protection against saturation raids. These three belts must function together, coordinated through a National Air Defense Operations Center that links all sensors and shooters. The role of the upcoming multi-role fighter program is decisive in shaping how IAMD will function. If Manila chooses the F-16V Block 70, it gains immediate compatibility with American-made systems, Link 16 data links, and access to a wide arsenal of AIM-120 AMRAAMs, precision-guided bombs, and electronic warfare pods. The F-16 would fit seamlessly into a network built around NASAMS or Patriot batteries, amplifying the American alliance. The downside, of course, is higher maintenance costs and deeper reliance on Washington. If instead the Philippines selects the Saab Gripen, it benefits from a fighter optimized for dispersed operations, from short or austere runways, cheaper operational costs, and strong pairing with Saab's Iri or Global Eye airborne early warning platforms. Gripen fighters excel at guiding medium-range interceptors through data link, essentially acting as flying command posts. Both options would give Manila the ability to patrol the skies, respond to incursions, and buy time for ground-based defenses to do their work. But the choice of fighter is not just technical. It will lock the Philippines into a particular alliance structure for decades. How then should Manila realistically roll out IAMD given its limited resources? The key is phasing. In the first 24 months, the focus must be on quick and affordable gains, integrating existing radars into a central command post, procuring counter-UAS systems to defend critical installations, and training Air Force crews in agile combat employment. This means dispersing aircraft across multiple bases, using roadways as makeshift runways, and ensuring rapid refueling and rearming can be done in the field. These are the cheapest ways to complicate an adversary's strike calculus. In the next phase, over 24 to 60 months, Manila should invest in medium-range air defense systems to establish real layered protection. This is where NASAMS or IRIS-T would anchor the shield, covering Manila, Clark, Palawan, and northern Luzon. Simultaneously, acquiring or leasing airborne early warning platforms would multiply the effectiveness of both fighters and surface-to-air missiles, extending radar coverage over the sea and giving commanders more time to react. Naval integration is also crucial. The Jose Rizal-class frigates should feed their radar data into the same network and, in turn, be cued by land-based radars for cooperative engagement. The final phase, beyond 60 months, would be about scaling up density and exploring ballistic missile defense. The Philippines does not need to buy expensive THAAD or Aegis Ashore batteries immediately, but it must prepare to host Allied systems in times of crisis. This model of Allied coverage keeps costs low in peacetime while still deterring adversaries from believing Manila is undefended. By that point, the country would also need to harden command and control centers, expand redundancy in communications through satellites and HF systems, and ensure that no single strike could blind the national defense network. The strategic rationale is straightforward. An integrated air and missile defense network denies adversaries the ability to paralyze the Philippines in the opening hours of a conflict. It preserves national decision-making by keeping political leadership safe. It protects the Air Force so it can continue flying sorties, and it secures the logistical arteries necessary for reinforcements from allies. More importantly, IAMD reduces the temptation for an adversary to escalate in the first place. The stronger the shield, the less likely a strike will succeed, and the more an adversary risks wasting precious munitions for little gain. The Philippines cannot afford delay. Each year lost leaves Manila vulnerable to coercion, unable to guarantee that critical infrastructure will survive in a crisis. IAMD is not a luxury. It is the minimum standard of deterrence for a frontline state in the first island chain. Whether through American, European, or hybrid systems, Manila must weave its defenses into one networked shield. The decision will shape not only the military balance in the South China Sea, but also the confidence of the Filipino people in their own sovereignty. The path forward is challenging, but the alternative, remaining exposed, is far more dangerous.